Hey, I'm Jonno.
And I'm Marie.
And this is our 5th installment of our Gearhead Adventure Series.
We recently went to Colorado and went on a bikepacking trip from Gunnison to Crested Butte. We took the long way, taking as many gravel roads as possible. A big shout out to Gunnison Crested Butte Tourism Association for making it happen.
Yeah, and in this video, there'll be chapter timestamps below, so you can skip around to different parts. And if you want to read the full trip report, you can click the link below. So let's get to it.
This route is about 223 miles with 18,000 feet of climbing and takes us from Gunnison to Crested Butte.
We're doing this over 4 days and 3 nights of camping. All right, Marie, so what bike were you on and how did you carry all of your things?
Yeah, so I was on my Santa Cruz Stigmata, my gravel bike. For my tire choice, I was running 50Cs in both the front and the back, and I was running Continental Adventure Terra. Great tire for that route. As far as bags go, I had a handlebar bag, a saddle bag, and a frame bag. I had most of my camp stuff in my saddle bag and my frame bag, and I used my handlebar bag for more of like my rain jacket, snacks, all the good stuff.
Okay, I noticed you were wearing a backpack as well. What was that?
I had an Osprey Escapist hydration pack to carry my water. I also had some snacks in there as well, because you can never have too many snacks.
And you had 2 bottles in the frame too, right?
Yep, I was able to fit 2 bottles on my bike. I had kind of a smaller frame bag that didn't block my water bottles, so.
That's nice.
So Jonno, what was your setup like? What bike were you riding? How did you carry your stuff?
Yeah, so I was on the Envy Mog. It is also a gravel bike, and I also had 50mm tires in the Continental Terra Adventure. They got me with the name because we were going on an adventure, and I was like, well, I don't know what we're gonna get into, so I went with that. It was a safe bet, and tire was great for the trip, so would recommend. For carrying all my things, in the front, I had my Big Agnes tent, so it like rolls up in a bag, dry bag, and you just do like valet straps on your handlebar, so super easy.
Nice.
And then the rear, I had a bag that had my sleeping bag, sleeping pad, pillow, like a light jacket, all shoved in there. And then I couldn't run 2 bottles inside my frame, so I had my bottles on my fork. And then I had a large inner frame bag, which carried clothing, snacks, all the things, rain jacket, and then up top I had a snack bag. So
Sweet. And you also had a hydration pack,
I did,
right? Cool.
yeah, I had the Usui hydration bag. So I had like 2 liters of water back there.
Nice.
So I was good on water every day. So we were both using gravel bikes, but I think this route is a route where you could do a hardtail or full suspension mountain bike. You'd just be a little bit slower. How did you feel going with the gravel bike since we've done it?
For most of the sections, I thought a gravel bike was perfect. The first day, which we'll get into in a little bit, we had great champagne gravel. There were some road sections, so the gravel bike was way more efficient on that. But there were some days where we encountered some pretty chunky roads and also had some single track detours, and we could have taken more single track detours. So it's kind of a choice of if you want to be underbiked or overbiked on this route.
Yeah, absolutely. There's like no perfect bike, I don't think, for the route.
Yeah.
Same situation. I was happy for most of the route with the gravel bike with the fat tires. If you had a gravel bike and you didn't have clearance for 50, I think that's like, okay, if you have a mountain bike in the garage, like take the mountain bike because you're gonna have a better time.
Yep. I don't want to go smaller than I'd say like 45, and even that might be a little rough. So if you don't have the clearance in a gravel bike, like Jonno said, I think the mountain bike's the move.
Absolutely. Now we've got the gear out of the way, let's get to day 1. We have 51 miles and 4,100 feet of elevation to tackle.
This is what dreams are made of.
We had this in her
Bag
bag. She has 2 of those in there.
Yep.
That's all she's got.
This is all I eat. On adventures, races, big Newtons, that's it.
It's been really fun.
That's really good.
I hit 46 miles per hour on the road. That's what I told someone.
It's a fast road descent, really pretty.
I don't ever go that fast.
Note, like we saw 3 cars maybe total.
It's pretty sick.
It's awesome.
So we started from our hotel in Gunnison. We got to see some parts of the town, and we went on to our first gravel section, which was a pretty steep climb, really loose, really steep. We were both kind of nervous at first, like, what are we getting into? But it was worth it. Climb was short, and we found some really awesome gravel for the first day.
Yeah, I think after that first big climb, it felt like we were descending for a while, a long time. The climbs were pretty gradual after that. Champagne gravel for, I'd say, the whole day.
Yeah,
There was
it was awesome.
There was not a part where I was like, oh, this is chunky.
We transitioned, it was kind of mountain bike area, so that's also a fun area if you do have your mountain bike. There was probably a lot of single track trails you could find. We stuck to kind of the double track ATV trails. We hopped onto the real road and had a really long descent.
And then once we hopped off of the paved road, we got onto a gravel road that seemed to go on for a long time along a river.
There is a campground off of the river. I was able to filter water there. So if you're running low and you weren't able to resupply, if you have a filter, there's options for you.
Yeah, or if it's getting hot, you can,
Yep.
take a dip if you have to.
Yeah, super nice river.
So to end the day, that took us to the Cathedral Ranch cabins. Very cool little spot for bike packers.
One of the coolest parts was just the hospitality from everyone. The owners were super kind. We were able to get a camper, which was really cool. They have camper, cabins, room for tents, shower. So we were unexpectedly able to shower while we were there.
So many snacks.
Yeah, they had a full snack shop. They had bike tools if you needed it.
Parts, if
Yeah.
you had they had tires, they had everything you would need if you had a mechanical on day one. Like, there's probably some there you can get your bike fixed up and you can continue on with the trip, which is great.
Dogs were running free. So it was a really, really cool spot. And a cool thing, Cathedral Rock is a big rock formation in the valley by their ranch. And it's the only spot that you can see the rock in full like that. So it is a unique experience for sure.
And they
It's
had a
very
couple ponds leading up to the Cathedral Rocks, so you could hike back there and take in the nature, the beauty of their property. And yeah, the hospitality of Brad and Annette was awesome. They showed us all around.
There were other guests staying there, so it was cool seeing them out playing wiffle ball, and it was just a cool community. So it was definitely a fun stop.
Yeah, we didn't want to leave. It was very peaceful.
Yeah.
But we did.
So now on to day 2. Longer day mileage-wise, about 63 miles and 4,100 feet of climbing.
We have started the climb. We're 5.5 miles in and 1,400 feet of vert straightaway. So rough start.
Yeah, it was a good climb though. Bits of chunk, bits of smooth gravel. It was fun.
We're at 10,500 feet of elevation. So really high up. Looking back down, you can see all the progress we've made so far, which is satisfying. Bikes are doing great. Fat gravel tires are the move if you're doing this route. We're both on 50 millimeters. So I would say that if you can run it, or even bigger. And yeah, looking forward to the downhill.
We started the day going up Los Pinos Pass, and then we had a wonderful descent.
It's a lot of descending, which is really nice. It's just flowy, super open valleys until you get to, there was a highway that we hopped on for just a short bit before we turned off back onto the gravel road.
We had pretty bad headwinds that day. There's also some forest fires in Colorado, so a note for July, if you are traveling in Colorado, just make sure you check the fire situation because it is summer in Colorado.
This was, like you said, it's the longest day, so it felt like a long day. The scenery changed a good amount from where we started to where we ended up. And then on this day, we saw a little ghost town.
That was a big highlight of our route for that day, kind of a detour we took to get to it. Ohio City, it's a little rundown ghost town, had really cool Western buildings. We got to take some fun pictures there.
From Ohio City to Pitkin, mainly pavement, right?
Yep, mainly pavement into Pitkin. It was a gradual climb. I don't think we were expecting to have the gradual climb. We were both pretty tired, so it kicked us.
But the town was super cool. I think we saw 2 restaurants in the town, but we passed those on the way to the campground because it was first come, first serve.
We had probably the best spot, I thought, at that campsite, right by the river. We were able to rinse our clothes off. They had some racks we could hang our clothes on. A note about Pitkin Campground too, it is cash, so something to think about if you're ever on your bike packing trip. Maybe carry some cash so you can get your campground all ready to go.
In town, there's, like we said, there's 2 restaurants. We stopped at one of them. Which one was that?
The Stumbling Moose. They had great dessert. That was the highlight.
So definitely stop in there, get yourself a nice meal, save yourself from cooking.
And something important to note about camping too, if you are camping, Colorado does have a lot of bear territory, so just make sure you have a plan to keep your food safe, whether that's a bear canister, bear bag to hang, or if you do have a support car, make sure you put all food in your car or your canister. So
great call out. All right, so that leads us to day 3. Day 3, we had 48 miles on tap and 4,500 feet of elevation gain. So we're at Cumberland Pass. We're about 6 miles into the ride, 50 minutes, 5 more miles to the summit, and then we'll drop down the backside. So excited to see what it looks like up there.
Road's a little chunky, but I like it. It's good. Air is definitely getting thinner. I can feel it. Harder to recover quicker.
Wish I had a little more gearing for that, but we made it up, no problem.
I have a transmission GX, so kind of a mountain bike gearing. Pretty fun to climb up that.
Very happy with the tire choice. A lot of grip, didn't slip out, could stand up out of the saddle and had all the grip. So would recommend those Terra Adventures.
We went through a puddle of mud and it got really muddy for a second, but the tires seemed to shed the mud off really fast. So we weren't worried about anything getting stuck. So that's good to know for muddy conditions. Those tires are probably dialed. About to go down the mountain.
For 20 miles, is what we were told. Probably gonna be slow going. We don't have any suspension, so we'll see.
Give our hands some brakes. It was chunky, a little rough, but we made it. Our bikes made it. Pretty awesome, honestly, that gravel bikes can do that. So Jonno and I are both happy with our setup.
It was chunky. Definitely one of the chunkier gravel roads I've been on. Gravel bike may not be the move, but we'll see. We're only day 3 in, and so far the gravel bike's been great. So if it's just this one section, then gravel bike could be the bike to have. So we'll see.
We started the day with a pretty big climb. It was the biggest climb that we had encountered that week. Our campground was sitting right at like 9,500 feet, and we did go up to about 12,000 feet at the top of the pass. So
way up
definitely
there.
a big climb.
It's totally manageable with a loaded up bike.
Yep.
It's just you're gonna be a little slower. When we got to the summit, it wasn't very busy. When we were up there kind of taking a look around, it got busier with side-by-sides, ATVs, tourists waking up and getting up there. So I'd say start early if you want to be more remote. Then your favorite descent?
I know. So from the top, we then had a really long descent into the town of Ten Cup. The descent was the chunkiest that we had seen. Lots of line picking. It wasn't super smooth where you could just go down any part of the road. You definitely have to pay attention and make sure you're picking good lines. And
take your time, go slow, be safe. As we entered the town, they were actually grading the road. So they were making the gravel perfect for us, which, perfect timing for that. And then, we saw like the old town hall, checked that out, had some snacks there.
It was a really cute town. Definitely want to go back and check out. It seemed like there was a couple more buildings we didn't get to explore, but it was a cool little spot in the middle of nowhere.
All right, so the next landmark you're gonna see will be the Taylor Park Reserve. Huge lake there. People were power boating, kayaking, doing all the outdoors things. Kind of just went around that, got on a busier gravel road where a lot of campers were. Put up with it because it's gonna get prettier after that.
Yep, we weren't sure at first. There was a lot of dust, a lot of ATVs passing us, but it wasn't super long, so don't get discouraged if you get stuck there. We turned onto another gravel road, which would eventually take us to our campsite.
Like no cars.
Yep.
Like we saw like 2 cars on our way up to the campground. The campground was a little bit busier, so I'd say get there, early in the day if you can, or earlier, so make sure you get a spot. But if there's not a spot in the campground, you can be like us. We took the BLM land behind the reservoir.
Yep.
And that was super pretty.
Not very many people there either, so if you want to be kind of more remote from everyone, the further you go on that gravel road, you can find a nice pocket of BLM land, so it was really beautiful. So that leads us to day 4. We had about 58 miles, 4,600 feet of climbing.
Awesome. It was so pretty. A little washboardy, but we're kind of able to find some lines in it.
I like to ride up it, just taking the beauty a little bit slower.
Yeah, we came around the corner and saw some cool sheep that were scaling the rocks, so that was really cool too.
I think our first big wildlife we've seen.
Yeah, we kind of get a nice road descent up here in a second too, so a break from the washboards and get to cruise.
Yeah.
Crested Butte. So far we've not climbed a lot, so most of our climbing is going to come from Gothic Mountain. Pretty flat road into town. Found a bike path that took us off the highway. That was really nice.
Yeah, the highway was pretty busy, which was surprising, you know.
Big wide shoulder though, so never really felt unsafe or anything. Just definitely
Yeah.
a busy one, so not super quiet.
And the bike path was super fun coming to town, super pretty. We were like,
Yeah.
we have to hop on there because that's way better than the highway.
Yeah. I was threw up a couple times. It was brutal. So pretty though. It was so awesome. Put some power into it and we ran out of gears. But it was awesome. Worth it. The views are sick. Jonno crushed it.
It's tough out there. I'd say go down to a 40 tooth and then get an Eagle 1052 in the rear and you'll be much happier. Lovely climb. I haven't been on a mountain pass like this long and steep in ever. Frank's. Stop at Frank's before you do the climb. But give your tummy like 30 minutes to an hour to
Yeah, the
settle.
breakfast burrito was not, not sitting well for a little bit. But now we're good.
This was a really fun day. I
was.
thought it was one of the best ones.
I don't know if it was just because it was the last day
Yeah.
for me, but no, it was awesome rolling out of the campground
Yep.
from day 3. Like that was a really pretty canyon we went down.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
And then once we descended that canyon, we popped out and went up Jack's Canyon Pass, which would then drop us down to the highway that takes us to Crested Butte. Once we hopped on the highway, you know, it was busier, it was constant traffic
Yep.
going to Crested Butte, which I was surprised that there was that many people during the week
Yeah.
headed into town. And we did learn why there were so many people.
We learned that it was Wildflower Week in
Yeah.
Crested Butte, which is amazing because we saw beautiful wildflowers. But Crested Butte does tend to be pretty busy with the wildflowers during that week. So
Yeah.
maybe do some research if you're not into the crowds to make sure there's not any similar festival. It was also the Food and Wine Festival.
Yeah,
so
there's a
there
lot
was like
going on.
3 things going on in Crested Butte.
But still, it wasn't too bad.
No, it was still great. We were doing an Airbnb in Crested Butte, so we dropped our bags to do the final Gothic loop. That's
Yeah.
a popular route in Crested Butte, and we wanted to go bagless.
Yeah,
So.
and highly recommend going
Yep.
bagless. I don't think I would have made it up to the top with
Nope.
bags. So the climb took us about an hour, 15 minutes. It was just over 2,000 feet of climbing and like 7.2 miles.
Yep.
And it was high altitude. So, and there's some steep sections, like
Yeah.
really steep. So you just want to be prepared for that. Save some legs for that last little bit.
Yep.
But you are rewarded with, I'd say, the best views on the whole route.
Yep. This is a climb too. I think a mountain bike could be the move. There was a couple pitches that were really steep, really chunky, really loose. You really had to keep pedaling if you didn't want to fall off your bike. So
Yeah.
it was a day that a mountain bike might have been better. At least the Gothic loop.
And if you are a little queasy with exposure to the side of the road, then
Yeah.
you may want to just really hang on to the
right
inside.
side,
Yeah.
yep.
And then that descent was super pretty to look around as you're doing it, but it's hard to
Yep.
because there are chunky spots
Yep.
to it.
We had to go through some creeks a couple times.
A couple creeks. There's one really steep section. It was rougher, but
Yep.
we made it through. Yeah, overall, just a really fun loop. Coming back around towards Crested Butte, there's options again for a little bit of single track. So
Yep,
you
we
can skip
explored a
that out.
couple of them. Definitely on a mountain bike would have probably sent it a little more on the single track, but
Yeah.
definitely lots of fun options over in that area. So
And we stopped and got a little bit of coffee.
the Rocky Mountain Biological Laboratory sits in Gothic, and they had a cool coffee shop. I actually had really good nitro.
Yeah.
I was really surprised by it.
Very
It
good coffee
revived
there.
me. Again, the wildflowers
They were
were
popping right
insane.
there.
So
Yeah.
really, really pretty.
Yeah, and then from Gothic, pretty much downhill. There's like a few small climbs, but very
Yeah,
rolly
on the way out, but still really beautiful. So it was
Yeah.
kind of worth it still.
and smooth gravel, really
Yep.
smooth. perfect gravel. And then that leads you to the nice pavement that rolls right into Crested Butte. Fun descent to our Airbnb.
Yep, we stayed right on the Gothic road, so right out of when you hit the pavement from the Gothic gravel, there's a ton of options for housing over there. So if you're interested in staying, lodging there, it's pretty great spot.
Yeah, and if you wanted to camp, I'd say just stay at the summit of that loop because there were tons of camping spots up there and you could really enjoy the views. All right, so speaking of flowers, what was your rose and thorn of the trip?
I know for sure my rose was probably Cathedral Cabin. Something about it, I already want to go back.
Yeah.
Has me planning new bikepacking trips from Gunnison. Just hitting that spot was so cool, and I think it'd be really cool to go back and stay a couple days and explore the other gravel roads that are outside of there, because there's so many gravel roads by Gunnison that we haven't even touched. So I think going back there and
having that as
exploring,
the hub to go back to,
it'd be really cool. And then the thorn for me was probably that second day when we ran into pretty bad smoke and headwinds going to Ohio City after we got down with the first pass. What about you, Jonno? What's your rose and your thorn?
Oof, I'd say day one was fantastic. I was scared going into it. I was like, I have no idea what this area is like. I've never ridden over here. I don't know what the gravel roads are like. Is it chunky? Is it smooth? But day one, leaving Gunnison, immediately, like after the Kill Hill climb, like that gravel was champagne. Like I've done steamboat gravel race before, and this was smoother than steamboat. So if you like smooth gravel, day one, check out the area, go to the Cathedral Ranch. You'll love that. And then just, you could explore just from there if you wanted to, or go on the route. For my thorn, I'd say on descending Cumberland Pass, the chunk there, it was rough. And then like even, it just kept going, like the roughness. You're like, oh, it's gonna smooth that near the bottom. And it was just clumpy gravel and it's like robbed your energy. So that was the thorn for me was that day. But then it got better. All right, so how'd your gear hold up and what would you change, if anything?
Gear-wise, I think my packing situation worked great. I had really nice waterproof Selly San Marco bags. They did get a little wet a couple times and everything stayed dried. I felt pretty balanced on my bike with my bags, so wouldn't change anything there, but I honestly think I would go with a hardtail on this route. I think I would have more fun. I had fun, but I think I love single track, so I think being able to explore, like you said, some of those single track sections, it would just kind of give you more freedom to explore and just be comfier all around. So I think I would really just change my bike completely.
Yeah, for me, I'd say, bring gear that you've tested a lot. I wore shoes that I knew would be better for like hike a bike in case I needed to, and like I haven't worn the shoes a ton and my feet were kind of in pain at times. So I would have worn shoes that I have done thousands of miles in versus, a couple hundred. But yeah, that'd be the main thing that I would change. All the bike stuff worked great, the bags worked great. I had all the gear that I needed. Pro tip, bring a rain jacket.
Yeah.
It is Colorado in the summertime, or any time in Colorado, just you don't know when a storm's gonna pop up. So have it handy because you'll probably need it. All right, so that wraps up our gearhead adventure of Gunnison to Crested Butte.
Yeah, so thanks for watching, and another big thank you to Gunnison Crested Butte Tourism Association for making this trip happen. It was a blast.
Yeah, and if you like this video, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. If you have any questions about the gear we used or what you should take on your route, reach out to Gearhead today, and we'll see you out there.